revealing our excitement to host the World Cup in 2026, and everything we've been working on continues to accumulate. And as we get ready for our next step in this process, we are anxious to welcome FIFA to Kansas City. We don't know exact timing yet. We expect it to be sometime between September and November. That was the recent news we received from FIFA. They're planning on site visits coming in September, again September through November. But most recently we have submitted our human rights component to our bid, which was what every city had to submit. That was due June 30th. We submitted that the day before and ready to answer questions in relation to human rights when FIFA's here for that. So not a lot of new news for you other than we're continuing down that bid process. We have everything submitted to date. All of our documents are uploaded and ready for them to be reviewed. And then from there we'll continue to have one-on-one calls with them, city, with FIFA and US Soccer, and continue to chip away at that bid process and again welcome them here later this year.
How'd the idea for the mural come about?
Well, Outfront Media reached out, and they have that space, and I actually reached out to Sporting KC and said, what do you think about this? So we were really anxious to work with them on the idea, and the brilliant people at Sporting KC came up with the design, and here we were, and rolled it out Friday morning. It was going to be rolled out Saturday because of the weather. It came out a day early. So again, in partnership with Outfront, and just really working through what that looks like and feels like and sounds like.
And obviously right now we've got the Gold Cup going on in Kansas City, and already there's some international soccer going on. How do games like that and seeing people pumped up in Jones Mercy Park, does that strengthen your case at all to hopefully bring the World Cup to KC, seeing how much of a positive environment it can bring?
Well, being on an international stage with the Gold Cup, that's incredible for us to have that opportunity and to be able to host the men's national team for the United States 3 times this week alone. The eyeballs on that are fantastic. So having this signage up during that time is fantastic. And with Aaron, is it the game on Sunday is on Fox? So hopeful that they'll capture some of this as well to show eyeballs there. So absolutely, when we're welcoming those other people from outside the United States here to play and their fans, seeing what we can do here, and then just that international exposure is really important. Okay.
It's interesting you mentioned the human rights aspect of play.
Yeah.
What all's in that? What kind of information?
So everything from homelessness and how we're handling that to equal pay and sex trafficking, and what else am I missing? Wages. I mean, there pretty much anything when you think human rights, there is a component to that piece. So what FIFA did was work with a third-party company, and there's an Ergon report that had come out for every city to talk about here are some areas where we see that could be a situation or not necessarily an area of concern, but an area of awareness for us. So when they're here, we'll go back through that report. So we worked with Kansas City, Missouri, the county, the state, and of course on the Kansas side as well to respond to all of those questions they had. And then from there, we'll continue to work through in different pieces of that.
What other kinds of information are in the bigger portfolio, bigger package?
Everything from hotel rooms, transportation, the venue, what our local organizing committee looks like, the executive committee, and who all is involved and stakeholders involved. So the bid has multiple pieces to this as we work through the year.
I'm sure you feel it's a strong bid.
Oh, I feel really strong. Some days too strong when I feel bad for the other cities and I look what we have to offer when from our venues to our practice facilities. Our goal is to host matches at Arrowhead. If that's not the case, then we still are a World Cup city, being able to host the team base camps for different countries coming in. So there will be something here in 2026 no matter what.
Additional questions?
When will a final decision be made?
It's a great question. So we have learned, along with FIFA coming in for that site visit, being pushed back. All of this should have happened and been decided back in 2020. So with them coming in again later this year, that decision has been pushed back to first quarter or potentially second quarter of 2022. Again, with trying to figure out with the pandemic, that site visit could get pushed back and the decision could get pushed back. But we're hopeful by second quarter of 22 we will know.
Did they drop any hints? I mean, did they give you something
None.
to be encouraged about? Or?
Well, there's always something to be encouraged about when you're on the phone with them or on a video call with them. And, you know, they've mentioned multiple times we're a 4-hour flight from any of the host cities in Canada and Mexico. And that continues to come up, and how great that would be for players to either get to games or be a base camp here. It's easy to get to and from any city. That's a positive. And so when they bring that up, that makes us feel great. When they look at our executive committee and who are the decision makers behind the bid, they really like to hear the mix of names and people involved, the diversity of what we do here in Kansas City and who we represent in Kansas City, as well as the venues. So I think all of those things stacking up in our favor is really cool.
Does the two-state thing help you or hurt you?
We think it hurt. We think it helps us. There's no doubt when you look at United 2026 and the original bid material, bringing together 2 cities, 2 states, no one can say that better than we can. Yeah.
Right in the line.
Right in the shot.
Kenny, how about the timing of the new airport opening? Is that a factor in is that part of the bid?
Sure, the new airport's very helpful in our bid process. One, because anything new looks great in your bid documents, but also the airport officials have been wonderful in working with us and saying, tell us what FIFA needs and wants. So we kind of have a blank slate, if you will, as far as whether it's the NFL draft or the World Cup, being able to come in and say, we would need signage here and this is how we will get people in and out. It's been very helpful to be able to work with the city with all of those pieces. Yeah, the airport definitely helps.
Have they said they're looking for a specific number of sites, or is that part of their whole process?
Kurt, isn't right now we believe the number for United States cities is at 10.
Correct.
We had heard earlier that it could be up to 12, but we still believe that number to be 10. And right now we're at 17, so it'll be narrowed down to 10.
There was a recent development with one of the Canadian cities dropping out.
Yep. So
Unclear
who
on how that
knows?
will affect the overall number of stadiums with the World Cup.
Yeah. Yep.
Any additional questions for Kathy?